Hi, this is Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts. I'm the host of the Marching Roundtable podcast and the creator of MarchingArtsEducation.com. Thanks for being here at our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe so you can see exclusive live interviews, plus excerpts from podcasts, webinars, and interviews from live events. This is really the best way to find out what you might want to go back to our website and see an entire conversation. Thanks for being here. We hope you'll subscribe to our channel.
The Marching Roundtable presents BOA Today, a special podcast created to take you behind the scenes and up close to the great performances, interesting stories, and fascinating people that make Bands of America so exciting. The Marching Roundtable is proud to be an official media partner of Music for All. This podcast series is sponsored by Fred J. Miller Incorporated, found at fjminc.com/roundtable.
Hey everybody, it's Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts, and this is one of our most popular podcasts every year when we do a wrap-up of the 2022 Bands of America season, specifically right after Grand Nationals. And I have some really smart and the right authorities are here, everybody. The folks from TX Bands are here with me tonight. So Daniel Valdez, let me start with you. How are you, sir?
Doing well, Mr. Hinton. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for being here. I want to say, Daniel, thank you. You gave us some great reviews all during the season on our BOA Today's podcast series. Thank you for doing that on sort of behalf of TX Bands.
I appreciate that, of course, anytime.
Also here with us tonight, Chris Drake is here. Chris, how are you?
I'm great, Tim. Thanks again for having us.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you here. Seth Bradtmueller is here. How are you, Seth?
I'm doing well, Tim. I thank you for having us. I'm excited to do this once again this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here again. And Daniel Sanchez is here. Daniel, how are you?
Doing great. How about y'all?
We're doing great. So I don't want to make this a long introduction. I think everybody kind of knows who you guys are. Daniel Valdez, why don't you just sort of give everybody the very short 2 or 3 sentence explanation of sort of who you are?
Okay. Well, Daniel Valdez, moderator, admin, and live blogger for TexasBands.com. I think this is the 16th or 17th year we've been doing live vlogging stuff, so it's on the broadcast for Box 5 TV. Always happy to work with them. We basically go to events and we just live blog everything. 100% positive stuff, all great reviews. We go to as many contests as possible. If we have to do them virtually, we do that. But yeah, that's how I'm involved.
I love it. Fantastic. So Chris, give us a quick, introduce yourself briefly.
Yeah, Chris Drake. I've been hanging out with these guys since 2012 or 13. Music for All had invited us in to do super regionals, and then we've just kind of expanded slowly until Box 5 took over doing the media stuff, and now we cover, if possible, every single Bands of America event, as well as our crazy friends from Texas who get over to UIL areas and states as much as they are able to as well. So we're seeing, I think we did math that I forget, was it 1,000 thousands of shows a fall that we're seeing and writing about.
I love it. So Seth, what's your secret for maintaining your stamina during the long season?
Spending time with my family when I'm not watching band during the week, working. I mean, life's busy. I've got 4 kids and they keep me on my toes. So the weekends are more of my break from real life. So it's just nice to relax and sit down and, whether I'm watching on the computer or I'm live at an event, just being able to relax and enjoy something I've got a great passion for.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And Daniel Valdez, you're down in, sorry, I'm talking to you. Daniel, I'm going to do this on everybody. There's 2 Daniels here, sir. Daniel Sanchez, you're down in Texas. Where are you down there?
I'm in the Dallas area. I live in Duncanville, and we travel, just like Valdez mentioned before, and Chris as well, we travel all over the state and go to all the BOAs and UIL states. Just had a 10-day stint of area, state, BOA San Antonio, BOA Grand Nationals, all just one right after the other. And it's been long but really fantastic road.
So everybody, we're going to wrap up Grand Nationals here. We're talking about the whole season, but specifically, especially Grand Nationals, which just happened this weekend. Of course, congratulations to Carmel High School, all the finalists, all the class winners. It was such a great week. It's been a great season. Fantastic telecast from Box 5 Media. Just a lot of really good things have happened this season. And so we can't talk about everybody. We can't talk in depth about much of anything, but we want to just highlight some things. So I told the guys here on the panelists tonight, let's start by, I'm just going to put them on the spot and say, what show would you want to see again right now? Like if you could just snap your fingers, the band comes marching down the field, you're sitting there, and you would like to see one show again from Grand Nationals. Who wants to go first?
I think we've all decided we have the same answer.
We haven't specifically talked about this, but we all know what the answer is.
Yeah. Tim, the answer is Archbishop Walter High School.
Seriously.
It's Class A champions, baby. Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah. For those that were in the stadium on Saturday, the reaction they got, especially at the end of the show, the harmonica's out, they're just having a blast, and the crowd just ate it up. I mean, they were clapping along the whole show. It was just a fun show. I mean, for a band their size to just come out and grab hold of the audience and have them on the, palm of their hand for 8-9 minutes, whatever it was. I mean, it's unbelievable. And, we loved it. I saw them in Toledo way back when, and it was fantastic. And, Thursday Grand Nationals, or I think it was Thursday, maybe it was Friday, whenever they performed, it was right then and there. We're like, we would love for them to win Class A. I mean, maybe in the back of our heads, we didn't think it was, legit, because usually a band with that kind of show, it's not usually winning Class A. But when semis rolled around and we get to awards and best music, Archbishop Walter, oh my goodness. Best GE, Archbishop Walter, oh my goodness. And, obviously first place. And we were thrilled, obviously, for them. I know they were, their fans, their parents, all of them were thrilled. But as band nerds, as fans of the activity, it's just a fun show. And we were thrilled to get to see it one more time.
Well, and they also got 3 standing ovations over the course of the show during finals. And the last one being like the entire closer. That's not something that happens with small band shows, hardly ever. And this one, the entire crowd was just engaged from the first minute, and it was amazing. From the moment that I saw it first time at Grand Nationals and during prelims, I was hyping it up in our chat amongst all the rest of our nerds and TX bands and people and everybody. I kept mentioning, hey, this other band was great, but from my enjoyment perspective, I can't put them above Alter. And so every time I just kept having Alter at the top of my my enjoyment list, and it stayed that way the entire night, and it was fantastic.
Team Harmonica, hashtag Team Harmonica. We found that, I think, on semis, and our hearts and brains and souls melted on the floor. Like it was such a neat little experience. It was so inspiring to see them in finals. Like it was a perfect way to cap a Grand National Finals night.
Wow. Okay, so there's 36 kids in this ensemble. Music of Stevie Wonder. I can't tell you how much this means to me, guys. And if, in case anybody doesn't know, I wrote this show, and I'm so proud of it. And so I'm so honored that you guys mentioned Alter as the band that you love so much. So that's very cool. That just means the world to me. All right. So congratulations, everybody at Alter, Class A champion, and everybody's talking about it, which is cool. And I just want to say, on behalf of this show, it's possible to play music that people recognize and have a competitive show that is, can win. So let's not all think it has to be obtuse. All right, everybody. So that's all I'm going to say.
Well, and along with that, it wasn't just
recognizable. Go ahead, Daniel. What?
Yeah, along with that, it wasn't just recognizable tunes. It was there was a lot of depth to it as well. There was a lot of character work. They were doing good visuals. The kids were fully engaged at every point during the show. I especially always liked seeing the moment with the kind of lovers quarrel, the fight over the potential lover, and just how that played out every time. It was very, very cute and very very well done in a nuanced way.
Cool. Very smart staff that have worked really, really hard. So I'm really happy for them. Okay, so I guess we're going to say, what was the other show? Do we have a second? Because we need to talk about lots of bands. Daniel Valdez, like, just what's another show that you loved, or another moment in the show that you loved?
I gotta listen to Carmel about 10 or 12 times because I'm not done checking off all of the nuances, all of the things they got right. Symphony number 1 with Barber. All of us, between the 4 of us, we probably heard that piece on the field 1,574 times. We've heard it done every which way. We've heard it flipped upside down. We've heard it played backwards, all that stuff. Carmel comes out there. They sound like a wind ensemble. It was shocking. It was shocking to hear that. Every nuance, every decrescendo, every accelerando, everything was right off the page. No fat to the show. This is the show. We're going to play it better than anybody has ever treated that piece before on the field, ever. And it's not close. So I gotta see that show again. I gotta watch that show again because I'm not done marking off everything. I gotta get my score out. I gotta put it all on the floor and just start ticking everything off, everything that they got right. That was very, very moving to see all that stuff done.
I got to see that show 3 times, and twice it was from up high, and once from down low at the top of the 240 section. And the number of details that I kept getting with every new experience of it, especially when I got down low and could truly hear individuals for how the individual work and nuance from the ensemble was just designed. It was incredible. There was one moment that was in there towards the end of the show where there's 4 trumpet pods. They're spanning across about 40 yards. And when I heard it, my initial impression was that the runs that they're doing, there was a bit of a timing issue, but it wasn't a timing issue. Those pods were working in splits. They were doing these runs in splits like bass drums do. You could hear one note from the left pod, and then the next note would be from the right pod, and the next note would be from the middle pod, one of the 2 middle pods, and it would just go back and forth. And so you had this stereo effect going through it, and it was mind-blowing to be able to just experience the timing that is required in order to do something like that on the field.
Very cool. Okay, Seth, what's another show or moment you loved?
I'm gonna pull out my fanboy card. Everybody who knows me knows I've been an Avon fan forever. And this year obviously was no exception. One of the coolest visual productions I've ever seen. The way they use those red scarves throughout the show to there's no props in this show, so they're using those to create images on the field. They're using them as almost like a guard member would use a flag or a silk or something. Just amazing to watch what that group is able to do year in and year out. And this year, especially from a visual standpoint, just blew my mind from the first time I saw them at the Indy Super Regional. And I fell in love with it that first time. I loved it all season. Probably my favorite show of the year. We'll, kind of wait and see on that front, but and again, I mean, you're talking about a band who's been top 3 at Grand Nationals now for what, 15 years?
17?
14? I mean, it's
17.
It's crazy the consistency. 17, they've been top 3. It's incredible the consistency that they're able to manage, and I love watching them every year because they challenge their kids and they move, they play. It's just incredible, and yeah, I loved watching Avon this year.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, Chris, another moment or a show that you want to mention?
I'm going to cop out a little bit and do 4 at once. And that's the 4 brand new bands that made finals, which is, I believe, the most we've had in a long time. So we welcomed Fishers, Brownsburg, South Lake Carroll, and Hendricks in the finals. You know, Brownsburg and Fishers have been coming up for a number of years and slowly been working their way into that top 12 position. And then obviously being from Texas, it's not as easy to come every single year. So we welcome South Lake, Carroll, and Hendrickson. And, you know, there's something magical about finals night. The pomp and circumstance, the pageantry, and for them to be able to experience that is always just a magical moment. You know, I would dare say that each of those four had a lights out run as far as the performance. There was some, you know, some random things out of control that that nobody could control, but that didn't really affect their performance wise. So, you know, bravo to those folks. That's huge. It's a milestone. It's monumental, and it's etched in history, and that's exciting for those groups.
Yeah, I love it. Congratulations to all those new finalists. And yeah, like it's the field is so deep, you know, and there's so many bands that probably ought to be in finals, you know. We can sit here and talk about that all night. You know, and that's just part of the competition at this highest level. So very good. Okay, so Daniel Sanchez, any other band you'd like to mention or show or a moment?
Yeah, Castle. They had the counting show with all the numbers, and in the drill, the numbers would keep coming up and matching the music. You get a 1, a 2, or 3 popping up in the drill, and sometimes it would stick around, sometimes it would just fade away very quickly. But the biggest moment, and I was able to catch a video of this, was when they're all formed up in a tight block, and they turn around in various sequences to create like the digital clock version of the numbers, because you see the dark side of their uniforms if they're facing backwards, the light side facing forwards. And so they just went through the counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it was such a cool effect just from having them turn around and pop around to the light or the dark side of their uniform.
Yeah, very cool effect. Great job from that team. Daniel Valdez, who else do you want to mention?
I loved William Mason's show. My goodness, I love that show. It was so pretty. I saw that in prelims and turned to everyone and said, that is really pretty. That is really, really pretty. It is definitely an odyssey, definitely. And the way they used Lady in the Water at the soundtrack was just like, it just made you melt. I loved it. I loved the whole visual aesthetic. I loved how they moved around the field. I loved what they played. I loved how it flowed. I loved how it ended. I just was really digging the show all the time. And then when we heard them, you know, second place, Class 4A, and in semifinals, we're like, oh really? Like this is it. I felt like, and just to kind of piggyback off that, it felt like most of the season we didn't really know what was going to happen. There were definitely some surprises going on, not just at the regionals, but at the Grand Nationals too. And then of course finals comes around, and then it's, you know, ABC. It's Avon, Broken Arrow. It's Avon, Broken Arrow, Carmel in the top 3. So it's definitely really, really interesting. But man, William Mason show is just so pretty, and you know I really want to give them the props and highlight them, because out of all the programs, I think the top programs in the nation, you know, they're among them. They're up there. They deserve to be there. That definitely. So just congratulations to them.
I just want to say they've got one of the best woodwind sounds I've ever heard. Their woodwind section is phenomenal. And like he said, you know, when they were announced in semifinals, best general effect, you know, we were all kind of, you know, a little in shock, but you know, you stop and think about it, and yeah, I mean, totally deserved. It was an amazing show. You know, we were all kind of getting vibes, and I'm going to go back a little ways here to a show that won Grand Nationals back in 2006, Broken Arrow Aqua. We all were getting those vibes, and you know, that show kind of came out of nowhere and won, and so we were all, you know, wondering, hey, is Mason gonna, you know, shock the world, you know, like Broken Arrow did that year? And you know, ultimately they came up a little bit short, but it was still an amazing show. And yeah, as Daniel said, just so pretty, so elegant, so graceful, just a beautiful production from start to finish.
Yeah, a band that's been around for a long time at a really high level, but it seemed like suddenly they're in the elite level this year in a new way, as you guys are describing. It's very exciting for them, and an absolutely beautiful show. All right, so was there anything that happened with the TX Bands crowd at Grand Nationals that you guys can share? Like, was there something that happened in the booth? Like, how was your experience over those days? Because I know you were worn out from a whole week of Texas state championships and all that stuff. Anything you want to share?
Sure. I think aside from Alter being our most fun moment of the year at Nationals, I think our second most fun moment was when I walked directly into a glass partition on field level right before semifinals awards. Right directly into it. I'm fine, no concussion. But all three of these guys.
I think walk is a generous term. You ran into that wall.
A brisk walk. The video, we got video footage. A brisk walk directly into a glass partition. I was fine, but all three of these guys told me afterwards that they thought I was joking. So that's the kind of reputation I'm carrying here. That I was almost seriously injured, and they thought, "Oh, look, there's Valdez. He does that. That's no big deal." That was a little bit of a bruised ego moment there. But and what was funny was somebody else on the crew had run into that earlier in the day, so there was a big X on tape, like with tape on the glass, like, "Hey, don't do this." And we were commenting on it, like, "Oh my gosh, who would run into that?" And then 10 minutes later, I ran directly into it. So you can nominate me for the Darwin Award on that one. I apologize.
Well, and I mean, nobody can. You guys, I mean, come on, you can't watch and blog about every single band in the whole world, over a week, not a whole season, and then not get to the end where things like that aren't going to happen. I would be surprised if you guys aren't doing that all the time, quite honestly. It's such a monumental feat what you guys accomplished. But I'm glad you're okay.
I texted my sister. I texted my sister, and she goes, "Are you a pigeon?" And then I stopped talking to her for the rest of the day. So.
I love it. Does anybody else have a favorite moment outside of a band show that they want to mention before we move back to bands?
Yeah, I'd like to throw something out there. So Saturday morning, we got, all my Texas friends got a nice taste of Indiana fall with a nice snowstorm. And they come down Thursday and it's 70 degrees, and 2 days later it's a blizzard outside. So, but on top of them, we all saw, social media reactions, kids from Florida, kids from Texas, coming up here who normally don't see snow, where they're from, and, seeing some of the pictures and videos of them reacting to the snow, walking up to the stadium in the snow. That just, it warms my heart, seeing people's reactions to stuff like that. And, I'm from Indiana, so I'm used to it, but seeing other people, experience maybe something for the first time it's special. And that has really nothing to do with band, but it's just one of those things in life that, you learn to appreciate and cherish.
Well, we on that same subject, we still talk to this day about 2014 when Tarpon Springs won, and it snowed that very night after they won. They were pushing out to load back to their truck after their encore. And just how magical of a moment that was, because some of those kids were genuinely saying, "I have never seen this before. What is happening?" So we didn't know if a little tarpon magic was going to come their way this year or not for the snow, but it was pretty magical.
I love it. I think the snow is definitely a story from the weekend, so I'm glad that you guys mentioned that. Okay, so let's go back to bands. Who has another moment in a show or another show that they loved or that they want to mention? Chris?
Yeah, the Power Band Country Music Jamboree from the Power Band of Arkansas, Lake Hamilton High School. I mean, insane. Completely nothing. It was not esoteric at all. It was straightforward. It was good music. It was a party. You could tell from start to finish that every single member on that field was buying in, because it's something that those people can relate to, because it's music that they've either grown up with directly or around, because it's more of a country style music, and it was just incredible. I mean, basically at the end we were singing along to Dolly Parton. I did not see it in Johnson City, but I know our friend Josh did and was raving about how incredible it was. And there were a lot of jokes in our group text, and even even on social media, the corn band is coming because their props were giant stalks of corn that you would see out in a field. A little bit, kitschy, but just so fun. And on that, the amount of pop music or more recognizable music that we heard throughout the course of the weekend, we had talked, it's been increasing exponentially over the last few years. And this year, I mean, I don't know, I could say we'd go at least half of the groups in a block were playing at least one piece of music that grandma or mom and dad had heard of on the radio or something that was accessible. So, on that subject, Lake Hamilton, just incredibly fun. I would watch it 15 times again. And then, just a lot of more recognizable pop music or accessible music coming onto the field this year, for sure.
The way they introduced the characters, like it was an episode of Hee Haw, look it up, kids. It's on YouTube. The way they introduced it, I couldn't believe it. I was like, they're going to do this, aren't they? And sure enough, they did. They introduced the characters. They come out of the corn and, big shirtless Rob or whatever they said or something like that. Oh, my goodness. That was I put a big smile on my face. We were smiling the entire time. We couldn't get enough of it.
So do you guys think that there's a concerted effort by designers to make shows more fun, more accessible, more entertaining? I mean, I know using the word entertaining in the world of marching band is a lightning rod, so I don't necessarily don't mean to go there, but people are giving themselves the ability. They're opening this up. I mean, is this a trend that we're going to see continue? Do you guys think?
I'd like to think
certainly it's feasible.
I was just gonna say
I think about.
Nope. Sorry, Chris.
I'm gonna talk about Mo and Gene Johnson. I mean, almost the entirety of that show is pop music, and everyone understood what it was. Everyone loved what it was, and it carried a theme throughout the entire time. And like I said, I don't have the repertoire memorized, but I would have to say 75 to 95% of that show is all pop music, if not the entire thing. And they're performing it now at a high level of success. So I sure hope so.
Yeah, and if you go back and look at prelims scores, Mo and Gene was 12th place, so that would have been in finals. And unfortunately for them, they didn't make it into finals after semis. But overall, it is a competitive show, even though it is fun, kitschy, and has lots of pop music in it. It ended with The Gambler being sang by the entire band, the entire chorus, and it was just so much fun. And I love that they kept changing the hand and how that poker hand played out with every run. It was always ended up as a full house of some sort, but it was different cards in different ways that you would get it. But also, I think we need to, especially from a TX fans perspective, we need to shout out Mo and Gene Johnson for the history that they've had with really embracing TX fans and the entire blogging community. Last year, they had a tombstone that was in reference to our TX band bloggers, and especially Daniel Valdez and his podcasts. This year, they had a poker chip with the TX band's logo on it. And it was front and center right next to the band's logo on their own poker chip. And we just love everything that they do for us, that they recognize us, and we always have the best interactions with them and their parents and their directors. And they always tell us how much they love us, and we tell them, of course, how much we love them for everything that they do.
Mr. Sanchez, how long has that school existed?
They opened, if I remember correctly, in 2019. Valdez, is that correct?
Yeah, like 2018, 2019. They've only been around a couple of years, and I think there's a lot of pressure from Texas programs that, okay, you have to get established, you have to be in the game a long time, you got to be successful at everything you do for a number of years, and then we'll let you go to nationals or something like that. Like, there's a vetting process to that. It almost kind of feels like that because everything's so ultra competitive down here. For them to go up there, I think they're the first program to go within their first 4 or 5 years of existence from Texas since Reagan, like back all the way 20 years ago. So that's what's up.
Claudia Taylor Johnson, I believe, came
Oh, that's
fairly
right.
early.
So that's two Northeast.
2011.
So that's even
Right,
10
and-
years ago. So that's two Northeast ISD schools from San Antonio that that kind of did that first.
Right,
Did that
and another
first.
thing
So
to look at. Sorry, another thing to look at in that regard is that Reagan and Claudia Taylor Johnson both broke off of previously successful schools, and so they had a lot of that legacy already in place. Mo and Jean Johnson came off of a school that was not ultra competitive, and yet immediately they've found competitive success.
I think that speaks just to the quality of educators that Texas has. I mean, every big school down there has multiple directors, and a new school opens and they've got their almost pick of the litter of that next up and coming director that wants to take over a program, and it's incredible just to see new schools pop up every couple years and immediately they're successful. I'm jealous coming from Indiana because we don't get too many new schools around here, but certainly, Texas is just a booming area, and as a proud Hoosier, I love watching Texas bands because they're amazing.
Okay, great. So who has another band that they want to mention? We can't sit here and talk all night, unfortunately, although I'd love to. I know we have so many, but there are other shows or a moment in the show that somebody wants to make sure and highlight.
I would like to give a quick shout out to Catawba Ridge. I know they did not make semifinals, but I had the pleasure of watching them in the North Carolina regional. They won that regional. I remember being just awestruck by their performance, their design. It felt very fresh and original. And I expected big things from them at Grand Nationals. Unfortunately, just the way numbers work sometimes, it didn't work out that way. But I know the Box 5 did a contest for someone to sit in the suite with them, and the winner of that was from Catawba Ridge. I had the pleasure of speaking with her for a little bit, both before their prelims performance, and then she was there for semifinals, and I just I told her how much I enjoyed her show at the regional, and then I told her how much I enjoyed it in prelims, and I was sad for them because I'm sure they came up here with some expectations of doing well, and it maybe didn't end with a second performance that they were hoping for, but it was still an incredible show, and certainly a successful season. Again, we're talking about a newer school. This is from the Fort Mill area, who's had multiple schools with success, but for them to win a regional fairly early in their history is incredible. Certainly a band I'm going to be watching over the next couple years, because I think they're certainly a band to watch.
they're gonna be around for a while. They're gonna be around for a while, especially with those Eastern regionals. They're gonna be there when they come back to nationals, and I'm sure they will. They're gonna be there. So it wouldn't shock me within the next couple of years if they start rising up and really start challenging for the finals conversation.
Yeah, and that's a fairly new school, of course. So it's just good things are happening for sure. All right, anybody else they want to mention? We've hit all the big highlights that we
I would love to
talk
I'd
about.
love to talk about a band that did not attend Grand Nationals.
That's certainly fine too.
Blue Springs, from Blue Springs, Missouri.
Yes.
They
yes.
went to the St. Louis Super Regional and the Indianapolis Super Regional, and what a breath of fresh air. I mean, the choreography, it was. I have zero knowledge of the French language, so pronouncing any of it would be an embarrassment to myself. But the choreography designed around a French ballet, the whole thing is just so different than what we had seen. That, speaking of St. Louis, when your heavy hitters are Broken Arrow, who this year was doing the darkest, meanest, nastiest, in the best way possible, but it's such a dark, sinister show, and then you just have this pretty show that just takes you from one end to the other. It doesn't feel like there are movements. There's no opener. There's no ballad. There's no closure. It is all one transformative piece. You know, the choreography from the Wind's perspective is just, I mean, Dan Putter said the word simultaneous responsibility no less than I think 75 times on finals night of Grand Nationals, and Blue Springs was a masterclass at that. I mean, it was just awe-inspiring. It's one of those you could just sit back, is a breath of fresh air, and this would have been, man, we all said it a million times. We wish they would have come to Grand Nationals. We get why you can't always do it, but man, this show was incredible.
That's been a big trend. That's been a big trend this season. Just pretty shows. I mean, we usually get a nice mixture of, you know, aggressive shows, nice shows, fun shows, that sort of stuff. I think the theme this year was just really just beautiful flowing themes and ideas flowing from one to another, beautiful choreography and music. What the emotional appeal with a lot of top programs this year was very palpable, and that is something that's something I think the activity lacks at some point. There's a lot of pressure on the technical aspect, what you're doing, how you're doing it, how fast you're doing it, all that stuff. Emotional connection, that is such an underrated sort of key to general effect and really connecting with the judges and the audience with your program.
And we've mentioned it earlier, and Tim, you were kind of going along these lines of engagement with the audience. What are other themes so far as like pop music and music that people know and can sing? And along those lines, I do think that there is a concerted effort to bring more engagement into the activity, get more fan engagement, get more like superintendent and community engagement into it, bringing the audience back and not being quite so heady about things, but also keeping all the nuance there, nuance and complexities there as well. If you look at a Disney movie, a lot of times there's like 10 different levels that you can read that at. As a kid, they're completely entertaining, but as an adult, there's a lot of jokes in there that a kid's not going to get. They're there for the adults, and it's awesome how many levels of complexity they can get in there. And in a similar type of way, I think that marching shows in general are starting to kind of coalesce in that direction. There's many different levels that you can read them at. And going along with the pop tunes and still being complex and still being very, very competitive, you have Hebron. Went to the San Antonio Super Regional, and again, that show is almost entirely pop tunes. 70s, 80s, modern times, 1700s, but it's all very accessible. It was fun. It was engaging. It was very aggressive, but it wasn't angry. It was aggressive in a, well, we're gonna play awesome music. We're gonna play it loud. We're gonna be able to come down and bring you in emotionally with the ballad, and all with incredible marching. The amount of choreography that they're doing while playing, and like they're literally leaping 4 to 5 steps while playing and keeping a steady sound. And it's insane the amount of content that they have throughout the entirety of that show. And again, it's just fun the entire way through.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, we knew we weren't going to get to talk about everybody, but we've hit on a lot of highlights. Of course, we could do this conversation again, talk about a whole nother set of bands, and it would be just as entertaining because it was such a great year. Actually, go back around and let everybody sort of say anything you want to say in closing, either about your season or how it felt to you, or your experience, or anything about sort of the Grand Nationals experience, or really whatever you want to say in closing. Seth, I'll just randomly start with you. What do you want to say in closing? What would you like to leave the audience with?
One more quick shout out for a band. They were not at Grand Nationals, But Dartmouth High School out of Massachusetts, for anybody who follows the activity knows they have been a powerhouse out in the East for a long time. They really don't do BOA. This is, at least to my knowledge, maybe the first time they'd ever done BOA. They won the regional out at Piscataway. I watched that regional. I was blogging that one. That was my first time ever being able to see them live. And yeah, it was a treat for me as a marching band fan to, see a group I've heard so much about and never had the chance to do it. I hope, certainly that this is only the beginning of them in the BOA arena. I'd love to see them come to Grand Nationals one year. But it was a treat to see them. Couple other quick shout outs. I want to thank Michael Reed, Michelle, Josh, our other blogging members who are not here tonight. Especially I want to say a shout out to Josh. Josh was with us at Grand Nationals. Saturday he started having some discomfort in his stomach. Sunday he went to the hospital, ended up having emergency surgery on Sunday. So he's in the hospital right now, probably going to be there the rest of the week. My thoughts and prayers are with him. I went to visit him this afternoon. He's doing well. He's in good spirits. He should make a full recovery. But certainly, he's been on my mind all day today and the last couple days. But thank you to those other guys that help us with the blog. They're great. It's always a pleasure to see them at Grand Nationals and hang out for a weekend. This group of people are my favorite people to watch band with. I've told them that multiple times. I love these guys and gal. But we just have so much fun. We all love band and we all love to get together. Whether it's 1 or 2 weekends a year and just geek out. And this was no exception this year. It was a great time. And I'm thrilled that I get this opportunity. It's not something I take for granted. Thank you to Box 5 as well for allowing us to do this. Those guys are great. And what they let us do, it's amazing. And yeah, just thank you everybody, all the kids, students, parents, everybody who participates in this activity. It's amazing. I love it. And as long as I can keep doing it, I'm going to keep doing it. So thank you.
That's great. Yeah, I think everybody really appreciates how hard you guys work and really a service that you're giving to share all this information with everybody about all these bands. I know you guys work tirelessly and you love doing it, but I think it's a lot more work than anybody realizes. So I know it's a lot more work than anybody realizes. So I want to thank you for how hard that is. Daniel Sanchez, I'll randomly go to you next. Anything you want to say in closing?
Yeah, Seth really hit on a whole lot of it, and thank you, Seth, for that. It really is incredible what the entire community has been doing. We love meeting with other members of the community, parents, ex-parents that still come to all the shows. We love going down into the stands from time to time, blogging some from down there. Where you can feel the band more than in other locations that may be more comfortable for us since we're there for long periods of time. But if you go down into the stands, you get to feel the audience more. You get to feel the community, and we have people that come up to us all the time, just thanking us for everything that we do. And I just want to thank them as well for being a part of the community, for engaging us and encouraging us to keep doing this. And that's parents, ex-parents, kids, designers and directors and staff. Everybody has been really gracious and just amazing to hear from everybody.
I love that, and thanks for mentioning parents who continue to volunteer years after. Everybody check it out. You can find all the episodes of BOA Today podcast that we did all fall, and one of them here toward the end included some ex-band parents that still work with American Fork High School Band like for 40 years. They've still been around working. They love it. They get so much out of it. So you should hear those conversations and hear what they say about why they stick around and how much they love doing it, what they get out of it. Chris Drake, final thoughts from you, buddy.
Yeah, got to thank the bands. They keep bringing it. They keep allowing us to do it. They keep putting out products that, are pushing the edge and entertaining the crowds. The crowds the last few years have been getting better and better too. I mean, we always talk about giving every band, every band deserves a standing ovation for being here in the first place, or something warped along that lines. But I mean, they were leaping out there was a lot of leaping this finals night. The energy was palpable. So it was exciting that, the bands are turning it up, the crowds are turning it up. Of course, got to thank the TX Bands crew, Seth, everybody. Got to thank Box 5 for allowing us to do that. They're a family-run organization. Some crap went down on Saturday night, and those people have been working hard to make sure that situation is turned around, so that the people who are not able to go and watch still get that same opportunity, despite the electronics failure that occurred during finals night. And I guess if anyone's familiar with the band world, we all know that electronics failure can happen at any time, and we never plan on it happening. So anyway, those guys, you just got to shout out to them. Thanks for Music for All, Bands of America, the whole gang. It's an incredible opportunity to do what we do. I spend most of the actual season on event staff, so Grand Nationals is my time to sit back, chill, and unwind and hang with my nerds, my nerdy friends, and talk about band. And it's the best time of the year. So
yeah, it's great. Thanks for all your hard work on the event staff at all those different events all season. And I do want to say I've been very impressed with how Box 5 has taken care of the whole band community through their reaction to everything that happened. And if you don't know about the solutions that they're offering, which I think are very generous and appropriate, just go to their website or their pages and you can find that information. I think it's really impressive how they've responded to that. Daniel Valdez, looks like you're going to get the final word tonight. What do you want to say, buddy?
Sure. Every contest that I went to was by accident. The professional life has really taken off over the last couple of months. A lot of work had to be done on the road. So I was very thankful that whenever I was in town for a specific contest or something, I would just happen to be there for work. It was literally by accident. So I was able to go to some contests that I didn't think I was going to be able to go to. I love these guys. I don't want to ride with anybody but these guys and everybody that helps out with us. They're the best. We love bouncing ideas off each other. We love arguing about stuff. We love comparing numbers and stuff like that. Seth named every Class A champ. We were just in the stands. I don't know what we were doing. I don't know how the conversation came up, but I turned to him and he was naming every Class A champion at Grand Nationals from today until 1991. And I'm not kidding you. He rattled them off like that. That's the kind of stuff we're dealing with here. Okay. This is next level, top shelf nerding. Yes. Major nerd alert, big time. And that's something we wear like a badge of honor. We take that. The term nerd used to be a negative thing. Flip it. Just turn it around. Just means you're really passionate about something. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Got to thank the fans. Got to thank the community. When we do what we do, becoming irrelevant is one of those dark things that we never really want to talk about, but it is in the back of our mind. Our fans are the best. Our parents are the best. The students are the best. They make us relevant. They're the reason why we keep doing this, because they give value to our words. And that means so much to us. It really, really does. And we cannot thank you enough for everything you've done for us over the past 15, 20, however long this has been going on. We're going to keep going. You want us there, we're going to be there. We're bringing everybody. So just thank you to everybody who's supported us over the years, and we'll keep doing it. We're with you. You need something, you come find us. You call on the nerds when you need that information. We really appreciate y'all, and thank you all so much.
Yeah, I think you guys at TX Bands have done such a great job doing such a service to our activity. Thank you guys for doing this tonight, bringing some memories and highlights from the Grand National experience and really the whole season to this conversation. And I've seen this a lot on social media in a lot of different forms. I just want to pair it again. If you are one of the people that unfortunately can get sucked into, man, what everything seems wrong in the world and what in the world is the future of the world going to be like and all those things, all you have to do is stop, take a deep breath, think about the amazing hard work, the excellent performances, the wonderful music, the emotion that we saw from all of these young people this whole season. And I think we're going to be okay. You know, we're building future leaders, we're building great citizens, and we're all going to be okay. So if you worry about it, just pull up a band show and remind yourself how great kids are, how great music education is, and I think we're going to be all right. So Daniel and Seth and Chris, you guys were absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me tonight. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Tim. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Watch for BOA Today every Wednesday this season from the Marching Roundtable. We take you behind the scenes and up close to the great performances, interesting stories, and fascinating people that make Bands of America so exciting. If you have a story about your band family that you would like us to share, please contact Tim via email at tim@marchingroundtable.com or fill out the contact form at marchingroundtable.com.
Marching Arts Education and the Marching Roundtable are proud strategic partners of Music for All. The Bands of America Championships, presented by Yamaha, are a program of Music for All. Music for All's mission is to create, provide, and expand positively life-changing experiences through music for all. For more resources for educators and boosters, please visit advocacy.musicforall.org.